And people who want to be just all nice things, they surround themselves with people who are below them. They're looking up to them. They're singing their praises. But if you want to have a great future success, it means you'll be comfortable being around people who have gone ahead of you, so they can also correct you. Yeah, you take me or leave me. No. Hey, we talk loudly, we shout. No, no one shouts. You can still tone your voice. No, I was that girl. I couldn't wait for my husband to get home.
You see that I remembered something. There's somebody who gave their lives to Christ to marry you. Wow.
Oh
My God.
So if you want a successful marriage, take your time. Don't be in a rush. And of course, again, don't date for many years. I hear people dating for 5 years. Unless you started dating when you're in primary school.
Study. Hello everybody, shalom, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from where you're catching this conversation from. Welcome to Sukibe YouTube Conversations, where we say we are the home of authentic conversations. Everything authentic, this is the space. My name is Susan Kibiat Sulu. I am born again. I am a child of God. I am a mom, a blending mom of a clan. I am married to Mr. Frank Atsulu, and we are blessed to be parenting nations. And it's always a pleasure to come to you with conversations that will build us in matters wholeness, in matters identity, and in this season we have been doing a lot about building purpose through finding resilience in very various journeys. And today I'm honored to have a guest who we have had on set again sometime, I think, in the previous episode. And so she's graced us with her presence again, and she comes in a different element. She has not come the way she left. And so I want to allow her to introduce herself, and then we can begin the conversation today. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Sue. It is so nice to be back.
You're welcome.
In less than a year.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so honored and so humbled that you could bring me back. And my name is Hope Waiganjo. I am a wife to Pastor Stephen Waiganjo. We serve together at Roark West Assemblies. We are blessed with 3 amazing children. On top of that, I do many things. First, I'm passionate about relationships and building godly relationships and marriages. We do that together with my husband through premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, and relationship programs. And then the other thing I do is in the marketplace, I do training and coaching of personal and interpersonal skills. This is in communication, leadership, personal branding, and building yourself, your internal self, so that you're able to have social relationships, because it is those relationships that help you succeed in different areas. And I am back as an author. Yes. When we came, I told Susan off camera that I was writing a book that was in line with our discussion.
Yeah.
And I managed to finish it and launched it last month. Thank you for attending my book launch.
You're welcome. It was a blessing.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So the book is out, Becoming Before Belonging. It is important to become.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that word. Someone told me that when they saw the title of the book, they told me, wow, this is a word in season.
Oh, yes.
Becoming. Have you seen that everyone is talking about becoming in the marketplace, in leadership? Because we've realized it is not the destination that matters. It is who you become as you get there. And that is the case with business, with career, and with relationships. Yeah.
Amazing. I think for me, when you mentioned about the book, of course I felt like, you know what, this is long overdue.
Really?
Because you really
Okay.
well, in matters relationships, marriage, and even that preparing yourself, the personal branding and all, there's a way you are so passionate about it. It's a conversation that shouldn't end. I feel like there's the end in that conversation. And so I know even this is just the beginning of a beautiful journey ahead
Amen.
as you continue to walk the journey of purpose.
Yes.
And so last time when we hosted Hope, we talked about building self-worth in the dating journey.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things had come up. I remember that time we were talking about even our young people,
Yes.
how they were in this Netflix and chill era. My God. Others are saying, oh, soko ni chafu.
Yes.
And we discussed that is a market dirty.
Uh-huh.
If you have not watched that conversation, go back,
Please go back
to our conversations.
Yes.
There was building self-worth in the dating journey, part 1 and part 2.
Yes.
Today,
Mm-hmm.
we are on about becoming, the journey to becoming.
Yes.
And I think where I want us to begin, Hope, is I saw something as I was going through this book
Okay.
that is I'm very passionate about.
Yes.
Most of us, when we talk about the waiting season,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be marriage. There's somebody who's waiting for a child, somebody is waiting for a promotion at work, somebody is waiting for, various transitions.
Yes.
Waiting is a season that can really drain you. And even, I feel like turn you upside down,
It's true.
make you see yourself in even avenues you did not know.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of this conversation, we'll talk about waiting, the waiting room as you prepare for marriage, as you prepare to go into that season we are all trusting God for. Because I have had this conversation with several people about, especially us who are in the Christian space, sometimes we feel like we just get into pressure when we get married. Serious pressure. And it is because in the waiting room we did not take notes.
Yep.
Yeah. So when we get married, I'm like, oh, the Lord has finally remembered me. For some of us, we got married when we are a bit older. Oh, yes, prayer answered. Then you cross your legs.
Yes.
And fold your hands.
Hey.
Before you know it, you're wondering what happened to the prayers.
Happened? Yeah.
So let's discuss the waiting room. What is happening in the waiting room, and how does that look like for me, somebody who is preparing?
So I like what you've said, and this is something that I mentioned in the book, that many people view marriage as a destination instead of as actually a starting line of a journey that you've not been in before. And even in the journey, in the season of waiting, you cannot really prepare enough. You cannot envision and say, now I'm ready, so even when I get there, this is what I'll do, because it's a life on its own that you will have to learn and work on it as you go. So how you wait is usually something that will actually determine your journey in marriage. Your waiting season is so important. And like you've said, it is waiting in any area, but specifically as you're waiting for a relationship or for a marriage, you need to be preparing, because there is this passivity that people have when you're waiting, that now I'll just sit and wait for my time. And like you said, especially in Christian circles, my season, I'm waiting for my season. And so you believe it is a matter of time. You don't believe it is a matter of you being equipped and ready for that season. So instead of being passive and saying, I'm waiting for God to bring that person, what are you doing now? Because that is what will determine how you will be able to handle that season of blessing when it comes. And that means building yourself. You're talking about, this series is about building resilience. So building resilience means that in your season of waiting, you are working on yourself. You are preparing yourself. Many marriages actually go through struggles because many people don't work on themselves. We expect the other person to be the one to do the job.
I'm giving God a list.
I'm giving God a list. Yes, this is what I want. Yeah. So you are expecting the other person to do the work on themselves. But you, what are you doing? Are you working on yourself? Are you working on emotional regulation, because that is a big thing. You will be dealing with so many things with that close proximity with somebody else. You will be rubbing each other off the wrong way, and you can't be exploding every time.
I remember something you said in the last episode.
Yes, I used to do that. Yeah, because I wasn't prepared. Even for me, I was very passive, fasting, praying, and even as I prepared and I was reading books on marriage, I don't think I was really doing the inner work that has to do with my emotions, my mental awareness. I was doing more of the faith work than I was doing the other aspects. And we think that just because I'm spiritual, I pray, I know the word, I fast, that will automatically mean that my marriage will succeed. No. And that's why if that was the case, then all the marriages in church or in believers would be succeeding 100%, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's because marriage, yes, is a spiritual thing, but it has many other physical aspects to it.
Yes.
You will be dealing with a fellow human being. And that means you will learn to be patient. You learn to be forgiving. Those are things that you learn. You just don't wake up and say, I'm forgiving. No. You have to go through some tests, endure the disappointments, and learn and become a better person. Become a better person in how you deal with people, how you carry yourself, even sharpening your mind. Are you able to have a conversation other than just the basic things? Because that is the thing that you will need in marriage. You imagine 24/7 with this person. You can't. You should have something else you talk about to spice up your marriage. Talk about so expand your mental capacity, learn things, even the things that are in his interest. There are things that you may have to learn. Maybe they are not your core area. That means you have to expand your mind. You have to have such a big capacity to forgive, to be able to regulate your emotions. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in. When I started training about it, of course, it was in the career space. But I realized that for you to have sustainable relationships, even with other social beings, not necessarily a romantic relationship, you need to be regulated emotionally. Otherwise, you'll be running away from every conflict and thinking the other people are the problem. So becoming means working on yourself all round, in your career, in your business, of course, in your spiritual walk with God, and becoming a better person. I usually say no one wants to be around someone who is nasty. We all want to be around people who are kind and pleasant to be around. That you have to cultivate. You have to cultivate yourself to be somebody who gives grace to others. When people wrong you, do you always jump to conclusion and say they're the only ones who are on the wrong? Or do you also check yourself and see where you fell short? Which is very hard for people to do. But to be able to have successful relationships, that's something you have to cultivate. Being able to have self-awareness, knowing your triggers, knowing what triggers you to do certain things so that you avoid it or you learn to manage it. Yes.
How would you help us understand the environment I set for me to achieve all that?
Yes.
There's a way my waiting room should be. So the environment in my waiting room, who am I hanging around? What am I allowing in the waiting room? Because you can get either results.
It's true. It's very true.
Yes. So how does my environment look like in the waiting room for me to achieve the results you talked about?
First, I think you have to envision the kind of person you want to be. I usually say, even for marriage, whoever you let into your space determines the kind of marriage you want. You see, like in cases where anything goes, someone treats you badly and you're comfortable, it means you have set your bar so low of the kind of life you want. And that means it needs to start even in singlehood. Who you allow in your space. You need to value yourself so much that you don't let anything or anyone that doesn't or that affects your growth negatively, you can't allow them in your space. And that means you have to be selective and intentional about the people who surround you. Your friends, let's start with friends, because those ones are you're intentional because you hang out with them, you choose them. Family, you're given by God. But for friends, you choose. So if you are surrounded by friends who don't tell you the truth, I've been learning the difference between being nice, which is something many people like, and being kind. Many people are nice, few are kind. Nice people will tell you what you want to hear. You know, I'll be with you, so I'll be telling you, oh, you're so nice, oh, I like this and that about you. But when you do something that needs correction, I'll be afraid of correcting you because I want to be in your good books. That means I'm not a good person. I'm not good for you. A kind friend will be okay with being uncomfortable and having an uncomfortable conversation, telling you something that is wrong about you because they see that it will help you. And those are the people you need to surround yourself with. So I've met people who all they want is people who can tell them all the nice things. And we are all human beings. No one wants to be told. It's actually being told something negative is not easy. You need to build yourself to a place where you can be given negative feedback and take it positively. It's not easy. But if you want to only be surrounded by people who sing praises, who dance around you, who don't tell you anything, then it means you will not grow. So I will say that your environment needs to be one, it needs to be one that you determine by the kind of life you want. You have to foresee where you want to go and then decide. So I want people who have gone ahead of me, because again, people who want to be just all nice things, they surround themselves with people who are below them. They're looking up to them, they're singing their praises. But if you want to have a great future success, it means you'll be comfortable being around people who have gone ahead of you, so they can also correct you. And that means having the right kind of people around you, surrounding yourself with so people companions, that is friends. Even at work, you choose the kind of people you want to interact with. Even in your business, in every circle, choose people who have gone ahead of you, people who are okay with telling you the uncomfortable truths, and also determine within yourself where you want to go and what you will accept and what you will not accept. Yes.
I was rushing back to see a chapter I read. I felt like I read repeated. And then, so I needed to get it so I said the right thing.
Yes.
When I was going through this, your chapter 4 in this book about breaking free from destructive patterns and unhealthy cycles, I would want us to talk about that, because I'm feeling like when I'm in the waiting room and I'm working, it's me.
Yes.
The work is me. So that we first understand the bottom line is me before I give God the list. And I believe also the people I surround myself with, the environment, will now start bringing out some of these things. Like, you don't like to be corrected, or the way you like doing things. So what is, not the important, I know it's important. I want us to discuss how you capitalize on this space to be able to analyze. It's like you're doing reflection to analyze yourself so that you can break out of these destructive habits. Because when you said about being nice and kind, some of these people we allow, as you transition, you'll be wondering, but how come nobody else? You're the only one who sees this. You're the only one who sees. So there's that. There's the person who will build you.
Yes.
And there's also somebody there are people we should avoid completely. You can't be criticizing me since January.
No.
You have never seen anything positive. But you see, if I don't take time to work on me the way you said, I can set the bar too low, because we don't want to confront some of these things.
Yes.
And also I want us to discuss how best to pick yourself from that. Because even when I have been interacting with people, I normally say it is a very daring journey to say I'm walking the journey of finding identity and finding my purpose.
Yes.
And then at some point I'll come into terms with the Sue I don't like seeing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then if I don't do that, then you transfer the destructive habits. So how does that finding purpose in the waiting room and surrounding myself help to bring out whatever is either unhealthy patterns or destructive cycles, so that I don't carry them forward.
Oh, wow. I like that. And I like what you say, that there are people who will criticize you from January to December. Yeah, I know people who they'll be so quick to tell you when something is off about you, but they will never compliment you when things are okay. And of course, those ones also, they need to go back to their waiting room and check themselves. That already tells you they have something that they need to deal with, because there are people who find pleasure in putting other people down. There are people who just find joy. They feel elevated when you're the one who has things to work on, but they feel they're okay. The other thing you've talked about is the importance of relationships in bringing out both your purpose, helping you understand your identity. And it is so amazing. I believe God is such a master planner, because the same people who will help bring out the best in you, aka husband or wife, the best example, because of that close proximity. They're the same people who will expose the worst in you, because of you've allowed them in your space. And of course, as we're talking about, even in your waiting season, the people that you're close to, say your friends, genuine friends. We're not talking about people who just sometimes we call colleagues friends, we call people who've just met friends, but I'm talking about people who are walking a journey with you. They're intentional, their best interests are for you. They have your best interests at heart. So God will use the same people to help you see the best in you, and God will use them to expose the other things. The thing is first to trust them. Don't allow, like you said, we're talking about you have allowed them in your life. So you trust them. You trust their judgment. You trust their values. Values are so important. So as you're picking friends also, make sure they're people that your values align. So that when they're telling you things, they're not things that are off. They're not things that will take you off course. They're things that will help build you and guide you. So don't resist. Because like you said, it's not easy. It's uncomfortable. What I'll say is, let love be done with everything should be done with love. That's the bottom line. So you who is correcting, because now it could be you being in that space where you're the one helping expose something to somebody else. I've learned in my journey that sometimes people fear telling others the truth, but there are people that have calmly told some things and they really appreciated because they felt the love that I was doing it with. Anyone can accept correction as long as they trust that you're doing it out of love, not malice. But if you're doing it out of malice, no one will receive it. So I feel like sometimes we fear having those uncomfortable conversations, but they can be easy as long as you know that your intention is right and you choose the right words. That's where communication comes in. I love communication a lot because that can make or break something. It can make a conversation go well positively. It can make the same conversation go the other way. There are people who every time they tell you something, you feel like they're doing it na ubaya, with malice. Yet they mean well. Like, their hearts, but they've just not refined their language. And so it's easy for you to dismiss them because you think they're being harsh, they're being ruthless, they're being nasty, but maybe they mean well. So I think all these things matter. Work on your language, your words, the vibe should be positive so that someone feels like your intentions are good. Then choose the space also. You don't correct someone when they're going through a bad day. Already things are bad for them. So I think just being, and these are things actually that help even in marriage. You have to be, your timing has to be right. Your heart has to be right. You have to have dealt with your attitude, because you can correct your spouse and tell them something that really is necessary. But if you say it, if you say it with the wrong attitude, it will not be received well. If you say it at the wrong time, they've just come, they're stressed out, and you start telling them some negative things, they won't receive them well. So as we grow in our season of waiting, we need to learn all these aspects. I think it's an art. To me, communication, all these things, it's an art and a skill that can be built. You have to be open to learn, so that you don't say, maybe this is just, because some people say, this is just how I am.
This is how I am.
Yeah, you take me or leave me. No. We talk loudly, we shout. No, no one shouts. You can still tone your voice. You can still learn to be kind and say things with kindness. It's something that can be learned. And like I said, I mentioned some of those things earlier. I've shared some of my examples in the book. For me, I've been intentional about that journey. Because when we started out in marriage, no, I was that girl. I couldn't wait for my husband to get home to tell him, hey, how did you do this? Now, I was thinking about this morning. We have less fights these days. First, of course, the time helps that you get to know each other. You know each other's likes, dislikes. There are things that you've stopped fighting about because that's how they are. So you've grown. But also I have grown. I've been intentional to grow as a person, to manage my emotions, to know that everything doesn't have to be handled now. Everything is not an emergency. To give grace, extend grace, and also learning to be comfortable, because some of the things I used to fight my husband about were my own insecurities that I needed to deal with. So if you don't deal with your own insecurities, other people will become enemies. Everyone who tells you something, you will always think they're out to get you because you have not matured. So, yeah.
It's a place of maturity.
Oh, yes. That will save you a lot. That will save you a lot.
As you have worked with a lot of people and you continue to. I don't want us, the reason why I don't want us to give people all the notes so that they can get the book.
Yes.
But what would you say are some of the, very common destructive cycles and habits that people probably find themselves in, which would have been sorted if you took time in the waiting room and were deliberate with the season.
Okay. One of them, like I've mentioned, is insecurities. People go through a lot, and I know this is your area, the mental health. Some of the traumas people carry from their upbringing end up affecting how they relate. That is actually a common thing. So, because your upbringing, maybe, let's give an example, there was a lot of rejection. You could be somebody who expects to be affirmed and you expect to be bombarded with love, or you also do the same because you feel that people will want that from you because we mirror what we went through, especially if you're not aware. So you will give what you expect to receive, whether it is a destructive pattern or not. So one of them I find is that people have not dealt with the rejection they went through. So they suspect everyone. They think everyone that comes their way is out to get them. They believe that as they grow, everyone will hurt them. They expect everyone who comes to leave them. And so they will even read false signs, where you're just being a human being and you didn't call them back as soon as they expected you, and now they suspect you. They think you're not in their relationship, you're not committed as they are. So some of these are the patterns that I think affect people a lot, not having dealt with issues of rejection, abuse, and some it is because if that's all they saw, they were abused. And abuse doesn't have to be physical. It could have been mental, it could have been emotional. They expect that as the norm. And sometimes, we ask ourselves, why is this person in a relationship where you can clearly see they're being mistreated, but they're not leaving? Maybe that's what they were used to. That's what they saw. That's what maybe their parents, that's what they did. And so they have not dealt with it. They have not overcome. They expect the same, or they receive the same as the norm. And that's why we're saying it is important to work on yourself before marriage, so that you have a clean set, you have a clean, you're whole, you're healed, and that your mind doesn't have those wrong filters, where you're using the wrong filters to judge people who are coming in your space. So that is the other destructive pattern, where people who are abusive, even you could be abusive. Maybe you just call people names, you treat people badly, and you think it is normal because that's what you saw happening. That is also something else. The other thing is just the habits that people pick along the way that could be destructive. Lying, that's it becomes normal, and of course it will end up affecting you in your relationships. Whether it is the big lies or the small lies, the white lies, they're still wrong, because once someone feels like your stories are never consistent, then they will not trust you. They'll keep questioning everything. Yeah, so there are many things, but I feel those are the common ones. Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of people who probably are still waiting for marriage, and the years have progressed. And sometimes you feel like they want to rush this because you see, like if I would speak from my own experience, I had a time when I really wanted to get married, then I thought it's not happening, I can move on with life, I even have children. And then sometimes you feel, no, I really need at least companionship. So in the midst of all this, sometimes you feel like you want it, sometimes you don't want it. And then now when it finally happens, you can be at a disadvantage because of two things. Like one, what you have said, I've not dealt with probably people who, things that happened to me.
Yes.
So you suspect everyone, even a nice man who comes, you are just seeing him like, the moment you will say something, you're already suspecting.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, do you feel like there's a place where we can rush the waiting room process? Because I feel like, after all, I am 39, heading into 40. I'm okay. What don't I know about marriage? Is there a disadvantage of like rushing the process even when you feel like time has gone?
Yes, absolutely, there is. Especially now, I can't even, I remember this question came up as we discussed in our previous session, our previous podcast, that there is no time frame really you can say now you've known someone fully, now get married. Of course not, because we are evolving as human beings, and we will keep growing. So the person that you knew 10 years ago is not the same. The Sue that I knew last year is not the same. So as long as you're intentional about growing, you will keep evolving. That's the beauty of life. But yes, you can rush, because I think there is time frame that you can say is good enough to know a bit about somebody. Of course, marrying someone in a month, hey, I don't know. Unless you are childhood friends or somebody, which is something that I know, I feel many people are open to now. And unless two people connected you and they know you, that's something that like the soko imekuwa chafu, that people are okay now being connected. Yeah, like the market is dirty in translation. That's what we mean. And so people are now open to that idea. But even with that, you still need time to get to know this person, because the way your friends know you is different from how your husband knows you.
That's true.
There are aspects that in a setup of a romantic relationship, there are things that come out that other people may not know. And I know that's why when people are having challenges in marriage and they say, which I don't advise, they go to now family will be shocked at some things they will hear, because no, this is not how we know our child. This is not how we know our, and so no one else will get to know a person on your behalf. So take your time. This thing of rushing, and I know, the pressure is there, and for women, we talk about the biological clock, which biologically it is true. But I ask myself, which is better, rushing and getting married just to say, I beat the clock and then be miserable, or waiting for somebody that you get to know in a safe environment and without pressure to get married, just somebody that you're both committed to the relationship with, and taking the time that is reasonable. Let me call it reasonable time, because we're not putting a marker on the time, but time that is reasonable, time that will allow you to get to know his family, get to know his friends, hang out a bit with him or her, get to know their interests, get to know what they do. That means that maybe a month is too soon, maybe 2 is too soon. I know people who have married in 3 months, but again, we are all different. We are all looking for different things. We are not the same. So, like we said, the journey you want or the marriage you want should determine everything else you do. So if you want a successful marriage, take your time. Don't be in a rush. And of course, again, don't date for many years. I hear people dating for 5 years, unless you started dating when you're in primary school. Yeah, like when you date for 5 years, you're like, okay, is that really a relationship? Or unless you started dating when you were children and now you have to wait to go to school. Yeah, but there has to be some reasonable time where you have both gotten to know each other to a place where now I think I can live with this. Because again, I usually say dating and courting is for collecting data. Data means that no one is going to marry a perfect person. That we have to get out of the way. But you can meet somebody and decide during that period, this I can live with, this I can live with, this I can't. And where there are deal breakers, then don't move on. Yeah, just it's okay to say, let's call it quits here. Yes, don't overlook things and say, because of time, let me just go. What can it? They will change. This thing of they will change when they get married. The biggest scam ever. No, everyone changes when they want to, or if they want to. No one changes because they are married. No. So don't get married and say they will change when we get married, because what will make them change then that they are not able to change now? If they can't change now to get you, what makes you that now after they've gotten you, they will decide to change? No. So make sure you have your deal breakers. Whatever you can't live with, leave it alone. Whatever you can't deal with, leave it alone. But again, don't look for a perfect person, because none of us are. Look for the things that you can work on. There are things that you can overlook and work on. They're not a matter of life and death. They're not they're not character flaws. Character flaws that you can't deal with can wreck your marriage. But things that, preferences. In fact, I feel these days people are fighting over preferences, opinions, and choices that really it's about being selfish. Sometimes people have become too selfish, where you want things your way. Now you're miserable in marriage because your spouse doesn't do things your way. But they're not things that are affecting your life. Your life is not a threat. They're not affecting you. They're not a value thing. They are a preference issue. No, those ones are minor. Yeah.
Wow. You see that I remembered something. There's somebody who gave their lives to Christ to marry you. Wow.
Oh my God.
My God.
Hey, you've read this book.
I have read the book. So where can people get the book? Becoming Before Belonging.
So currently, I just launched and I'm still looking for avenues to get it to the bookstores and other places. Currently, I'm the one selling it. So you can inbox me your orders and we will find a way of getting it to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have heard it from Hope Waiganjo, the latest author in town. According to me, I've not met another one like after her book launch. So yeah, the latest. And so if this episode has been a blessing to you, feel free to reach out to us. We can also connect you to how you'll get the book. Yes. So there'll be a number that will be here, our email address. Reach out. We will be able to connect you to Hope on how you can get the book. Of course, in any questions as well, we shall be able to direct them to her. And once again, I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for every share, every subscription, even for watching this content. You really keep us going, and I really appreciate. And I also want to thank everybody that has taken their time even to partner with us to make sure this work is continuing. Asanteni sana. May God really bless you. And for you who is asking how you can support us, there will be a till number. Feel free to support our episode so we can continue to bring you authentic conversations. So until next time, when we get to have another conversation, God bless you and may God do you well, and do not waste the waiting room. Find purpose, build resilience towards your destiny. God bless you.